afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right, we got a full house today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our town hall meeting, where for those residents that are new to Friendship Village, this is a meeting where, as you can see, all the directors kind of sit up on stage and they give a little bit of a discussion on what's happening in their departments and any questions that you might have for any of the departments. This meeting is the time to do that. So I'm Betsy Bale, the Executive Director, and I'm going to start us out with actually asking Kit Huff to come up to the podium, and he is going to give a little bit of a presentation on United Way. So please welcome Kit. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. I am Kit Huff, a fellow independent resident of Independent Living in Friendship Village, and I'm speaking to you today as chairman of the United Way Volunteer Committee. Most previous residents will remember that in September and early October, each year Friendship Village allows the most generous residents and the United Way campaigners to conduct a campaign in early September and October. The timing will be the same this year, but nothing else will. The virus, I should point out that United Way is not sponsored by Friendship Village, it's done by volunteers. This year's campaign will take place during the same time period, but nothing else about the campaign will be the same, because the virus, coronavirus has already brought so much havoc in health and employment, and fear of the future has changed the way the campaign will be conducted also, because that's changed the way the United Way has to operate also. Every previous year, they provided us envelopes addressed to each resident, stuffed with reminders of the United Way accomplishments in previous years, and a pledge card, and returned them to us to distribute them to each of our residents. This year, the United Way has not been able to even open their office because of the COVID virus. So, we do not have any envelopes. So in order to receive any funds to meet the growing needs caused by the COVID virus, we'll have to ask our residents to write a check to the United Way, and we will be furnishing you information in each of your independent mailboxes next to the front desk in early October. And you'll be asking you then to write checks to the Greater Kalamazoo and Battle Creek United Way on Westnedge Avenue in Kalamazoo, and to put in the remarks or memo section of that check, Friendship Village resident. And that will help if we can get enough of the volunteers and generous residents to contribute this year as they have in the past. That will help greatly to meet the United Way needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kit. It is a little bit different these days with how we do things. Normally we have a presenter that comes from United Way and does a nice video with us, so I know that they appreciate all your generosity. I'm going to start out with our occupancy numbers in each one of our levels of care. We are currently 87% occupied in independent living, and we're 94% sold. Our assisted living continues to grow as well. We're 75% occupied and 77% sold. And our health center is currently at 85%. However, our rehab still remains closed because of staffing levels. So I know Lisa, our director of nursing, has been really busy hiring, and hopefully we'll be able to open rehab back up at beginning of October. Our resident numbers, we're currently at 351. That's 202 in independent living with 53 second persons, 63 in our assisted living, and 35 in our health center. So I need to change that. We're 353 total. Our employee full-time equivalents is 237 to a budget of 254. So we still are struggling a little bit trying to recruit staff, like I'm sure you've seen if you've been out and about in the community and all the help wanted signs. I think things are getting a little bit better. We're getting some good hires in with us, and I know a few of them will be introduced today, so we hope to see that continue. Just a couple of our updates. In our clubhouse is finally open, and today we actually put in the pool table. So we're really excited about that. They came in and there's quite a process, I didn't realize, to putting a pool table together once it's installed to make sure that it is completely even. And so there's some rules that go behind that, is no sitting on the pool table. And what was the other thing, Ken? It was
don't move it.
Don't move it. That was the other thing, because there are seams in a pool table, and if you move it, it jars that, and the seams make that uneven. So we'll get some rules out there so that you can all kind of see what needs to happen, and then there's a nice cover that goes over the top of it that we ask that you replace if you do take that off, just so that we can keep the felt in nice condition as well. So hope you all have an opportunity to use that. We're now using some different metrics for COVID outbreaks, and that comes from CMS, or the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. We used to be using what was called the positivity rate, and now we are using what's called the community transmission rate instead of that positivity rate. And how that is actually calculated is new cases per 100,000 persons in the past 7 days, and then the percentage of positive tests during the past 7 days. And so that's actually calculated together. And it basically goes from low, medium to high. And Kalamazoo County is currently in the high. We are in the red zone is what they call that. What that means is everyone in Kalamazoo County, Michigan should wear a mask in public and in indoor settings. Mask requirements might vary from place to place, so please make sure you're following local laws and rules and regulations and guidance. Currently, and these numbers are as of today, current cases in Kalamazoo County are 543%. Positivity rate is 6.75%, and the deaths is less than 10%. And our eligible population fully vaccinated went from 60.5% to 60.9% over this past 7 days. So we've seen a slight increase in that. And the hospitalizations have actually increased from 39 to 49. So there's a couple of things that we put into place because we wanted to make sure that people know what they can do and what they shouldn't be doing if you have been exposed to anybody that has had COVID. And I know Reagan is going to go through that a little bit more in detail, but we did put out in one of the Connections Matter kind of the do's and don'ts, so that gives you some guidance in terms of what you can do, continue to do, and what things that we're requesting that you abstain from until we make sure that you have a negative test. One of the things that's coming out, it actually has come out, and we have to get our systems in place based on that community transmission, is all non-vaccinated staff, contractors, volunteers, caregivers, and students who enter the building frequently will be required to either, number one, be vaccinated, or they will have to show us a negative test from over the past 7 days. So that's going to be a requirement in entering our building, and that comes from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, as well as the Michigan Department of Public Health. So as soon as we get that in place, we'll put a letter out, especially if you know of anybody who has a private caregiver who might be coming into their homes. That's somebody that is coming into our building frequently, and they'll either have to show us that proof of the vaccination, they'll have to show us their vaccination card, or show us their test that they've had over the past 7 days. And that'll be done right there at the screening table. And the last thing that I have is just, I have the honor next week of going to Leading Age Michigan Conference. It's the annual conference that hasn't been held in a couple of years because of COVID. And at that conference on Tuesday night, I will have the privilege, they have a big awards gala, and I'm the awards gala MC for the evening. And so I'll have the privilege of introducing a couple of our teams here at Friendship Village. I announced it, I think, a few meetings ago. Harry Reeves, who is our Volunteer of the Year, he will be presented with the award at that gala, as well as Ashley Jameson in Assisted Living with her team. They'll all be there as well. And so really excited to share things that are happening at Friendship Village and great things that are happening here. So I'm sure you'll see some pictures that are taken with the awards, and I'm sure it'll be a really nice evening. Any questions for me before I turn it over, Kid?
Betsy, do you have any idea when our third shot or the booster shot for COVID virus will be given?
Kid's question was, do we know when the booster shot or that third shot will be given? And currently we don't. I know that Reagan has set up for the flu clinic, and if we possibly can try to fit that all at the same time, I think we'd like to do that. But it's still, everything's just still up in the air a little bit, and we're still a little ways away from the flu shot clinic. But I think we're all hopeful that that's something that we can do at the same time, so that, you know,
USA had an article in it today saying that the FDA had okayed the flu shots for anybody over 65.
You mean the virus shot?
Yeah.
Betsy?
I went to Walgreens on Friday because I am traveling in a couple weeks. I took my vaccination card from here, and they put a third shot of Moderna in my arm.
Oh, nice.
So you can go take your vaccination if you need to before the flu clinic. I'm sure they'll come through, but because I'm traveling, I wanted to get it done, and they're doing it.
Yeah, very nice. The only thing I would add is that if you do get a third shot from any other provider, then here we're asking that you bring your vaccine card to the front desk, because we need a copy of that for our records, so that we've got everybody on record. We've had a lot of residents who have lost their cards, and it's a great thing that we keep those on record, because we're able to go back and pull those out as we took copies as everybody went through that
And
clinic.
they will give you Moderna if you've had Moderna.
Moderna?
Yeah, they will follow with the same vaccine.
They'll follow with the same vaccine, is what she's saying, if you happen to get out to Walgreens and want that shot before we do the flu clinic.
I wonder if the people who are visiting had to actually show their card, or if it's just a verbal.
We are going to require that they show us their card, only because we know of several different venues that people are being asked to show their card, or if they're vaccinated, and they say yes, and they're not able to prove that they've been vaccinated. So we are going to ask them to show us their card, and we'd actually like to take a copy of their card so that we have it on file, so we don't have to ask them to show it to us every time they come in, especially for those frequent visitors. Gail?
Will the booster shot have to be recorded on the cards we have now?
I believe the booster shot is recorded on that same card. I think there's 2 or 3 extra lines underneath that second shot that they'll put that information on there.
We should bring those cards with us.
You should bring your card with you if you choose to go elsewhere for your booster shot.
The problem is I had mine laminated, which they recommended to us at the time where I was. I think we just have to make an additional card.
If you had your card laminated, I would think that whoever's given you your next card will take that card, write down your first, second, and third for you so that it's done by somebody else and not yourself. That's always the best bet to go.
With regard to the frequent visitors, does that apply to family and friends who come on a regular basis, as well as caregivers and others?
We can't refuse somebody from coming in and visiting. Everybody is required to wear a mask, and we ask that everybody continues to wear a mask even when they're in your apartments. As I said, one of the things from CMS was even when you have visitors in, everybody should be wearing a mask.
I was asking more about the requirement for others related to showing their vaccination card or proof of test. Does that
Currently,
apply?
Dave, currently we don't have it for visitors.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I can't say that that's not gonna be coming down the pike, but I know that they're not currently included in that category. Question? Yep.
I'm wondering if they're willing to give the flu shot and the COVID vaccine shot at the same time.
They are willing to do that. They just recommend that it's done in different arms, or I wanna say it was at least 1 inch from
1 inch apart.
1 inch apart, yeah, from the other shot, from each other, when they're giving that. I probably will get it in different arms. But they are willing to give both at the same time. All right, well, I am gonna turn it over to Brandon, and he has, I'm not sure what he has, but I know wants to introduce a new member of our team as well.
Wow, she normally puts me at the very end, so I don't get the beginning. Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot today, but what I did want to bring to you is, put the name to the face, which I think is always important. And that's Ethan Wagner. He is our new concierge from Centrix. So if you see him, understand that, he's your contact there. He is looking at the work orders. So he's, just got trained, so be gentle with him. So I'll let him kind of introduce himself, but he's definitely on the ball. He's really taking charge. He's closing a lot of work orders out. So it seems like Ethan's got a good, strong hold on it so far. And of course, everything's going to change a little bit, but seems to be really doing a nice job. Gail?
I wanted to say thank you to Ethan. My computer wasn't working, and he figured out what the problem was. It's all
See?
good.
He's already got praise right out the get-go. He's not been here that long. I'm going to let him introduce himself, so, briefly. Go ahead, Ethan. Come on up.
Just hear about yourself. Where are you from? Where do you live?
Yeah, he's, I know he's back in my department, but he hasn't, I haven't rubbed off on him yet about talking for hours. So yeah, briefly just talk about who you are, your background.
Okay, well, my name's Ethan. I'm from southwestern Michigan.
Can you bring the mic closer, please?
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me? Okay. My name's Ethan. I'm from a little town in southwest Michigan, right around Southwestern Michigan College, if anyone knows where that's at. Going to college to get my bachelor's in CIT, so, technology. I haven't been doing much with technology yet, so bear with me while I start to learn things and get a hold of everything. But I just want to say that you've all been very kind to me so far. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to assisting and helping you guys in all of your technology needs and issues. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I really have. Does anybody have any questions for me since I'm up here? Oh. Got it pretty quick there. Who wants to go first?
Judy.
Judy? No.
Yeah.
No.
Lots of duties.
You need the mic.
She needs
What,
the
do you,
mic.
what was the question?
Back there.
I kind of figured that was coming. As soon as you raised your hand. Judy's gonna ask about the siding on buildings, 3, 4, and 5 essentially. Yep, we have that, have the material here. The contractor is just got really on site. He's finishing up the first floor, and we're trying to schedule all that before the winter time comes. I was actually looking at that the other day. Building 5 from the road, from Ring Road, is starting to look really bad. You can actually start to see it pop, so it's well overdue.
After the extensive power outage that we had a few weeks ago, there was a request for a list of the items that would be operational from the generator during power shutdown. And I haven't seen that list yet. I just wondered if you were putting something together for us. So we'd have an idea of what we should be prepared to be without or to try to correct ourselves.
I don't think I saw any, anything, in a response to that. Was that in an email or?
No, it was to,
Oh,
it was
okay.
during Betsy's.
Gotcha, okay, oh, okay. So that, well, unfortunately, most of the, you're not the only one to request that. Especially kitchen equipment, stuff of that nature, we have that here. But what's in your apartments is gonna be really questionable. Most of those are just gonna be outlets in the hallway. And they're not really labeled because normally it would be a red outlet that would tell you what a generator power really is. And during, of course, some of our renovations, they ended up taking those out. So we're trying to track those as the power goes out itself, and we walk around with basically a toner to kind of see if it's up and running. But your apartments, and I hear this all the time, that some people have half an apartment up and running when we have power out. That's not generator. Generally, you have one leg of power that's dropped out, and the other leg is what's running the other half of your power. So at some point, expect that will drop out completely when they take, they'll have to take it down, shut everything off to make the correction generally. So just kind of know that. We, of course, have a plan for a much, much larger generator, which would power, a whole city block. So, but it's coming. It's going to take the master planning. It's going to have to be in a different location, and there's a whole lot of code requirements. But that's something that Betsy and I have been working on for quite a few years now, getting prepared for that. And at that point, I think I can put everything on the generator, which is really ideal.
What about elevators?
Elevators, we only have one elevator on the generator right now.
Which one?
Elevator 2 is on the generator. The other ones are not. Go ahead, Gail.
Until the air conditioning gets going down in the laundry room, could we have a fan in the hall? Because when those dryers are on, you will roast to death in there. Something to bring some air into that room.
In a power outage? Or just in a power outage, or just normal?
No, it hasn't. We don't have the air conditioning there for at least over.
Oh, you're talking in the basement?
The laundry room.
Yes. Yeah, that, we actually have that. So I had the parts for that don't exist anymore. Just in a nutshell, that you're talking about the lower level terrace laundry room. That's kind of warm. So yes, we have that figured out. We had to redesign that completely with totally different equipment.
I understand that, but could we, in the meantime, have some kind of a fan in the hall that brings cool air into the room?
That is actually against COVID guidelines. Anytime that in fact, we don't use it for the kitchen or anything anymore because of that. The fans would move around too much air in that room.
Okay.
So.
We need to look at the vent that's drawing the air out. Maybe something is clogging it to where, because it's not always running that way.
No, it's not. Well, the air conditioner is completely down, so there's no air coming in. So that's that's a whole nother interesting fiasco. But let me see what we can do. We're actually getting close to actually pulling that trigger. So it's very short-lived.
That affect fans in your room?
Do what?
Affect fans in your room?
Nope. That would not affect any air in your rooms. In fact, buildings 1 and 2 are set up totally different than, 1, 2, and 3 are set up different than 4 and 5. So 4 and 5, you have your own air conditioners on the roof, and 1, 2, and 3 are all chilled water. So that kind of leads into the whole next thing if you're getting into air conditioning, is that getting close to that time of year where we shut down and go back into heating mode. So, oh joy, winter's coming. So we'll put some communication out on that, but no, it would not affect those rooms. Yep, go ahead.
During a power outage, you said there are certain plugs that are hot and operational.
Yep.
Can we use those during a power outage for charging cell phones, or are they only for residents' oxygen?
No, they're for any, they would be restricted, I would like to say for emergency use, but yeah, you can come down here as well, just so you know. I mean, this is one of those areas that does have, generator power. So you could come down here, if you couldn't find one, or if one wasn't available, you could come down and plug in down here. Generally, we're set up as a medical facility, so we have 3 backup generators, but we don't generally lose power for that long. They classify us like a hospital, so we're first priority. So that's how we call that in. So it's good to know. All right, I'm gonna turn it.
Even with my heels on. Hello everybody, can you believe it's been a month already since the last time we met? So a lot's happened. We welcomed 5 new residents into our community last month, so I'm excited to introduce them to you all. First we have Jerry Zenz. Welcome Jerry Zenz. Sure, I didn't say that. And Tina House. So, something that might be a good conversation starter if you want to start a conversation with Jerry is he loves to race sailboats. Or did. Are you still sailing?
No. Yes, but not racing.
Right. All right. And then next we have Barbara Redford. Welcome aboard, Barbara. So something amazing about Barbara is that she swam the length of Gilead Lake in Bronson, Michigan.
Wow.
I know, right? Good for you. She also has 2 cute doggies too, so if you see them. Next we have Jim and Joyce Treese. They could join us today. But Jim always loved working with kids, and so he coached Little League baseball and girls soccer. He actually he's a card-carrying Girl Scout. He did not have any sons, but he had 3 daughters. And his lovely wife, Joyce, was so much influenced by baseball that she became a lifetime Tiger fan, and when she was quite young, she saved money to buy her very own glove, which she oiled and rubbed until it was incredibly smooth, and she was very proud of that. That's commitment. And then we have Judith Kennedy. Judy, Kennedy, and something interesting about her, she was a flight attendant for 41 and a half years. Welcome aboard, Judy, thank you. All right, so if you see them, join us for cookies. Do we have?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. For cookies and punch to welcome our new residents. And I guess I'll do the drawing. This month's winner for the referral is Darlene Mosier. So darling, we'll get you set up for $100 off the fund of your choice. And we are currently looking for a sales counselor still, so we're on the search. We've had a few interviews, so we're hoping to fill that position. Otherwise, we are plugging away to try to get a lot of those. We have a lot of one-bedroom open inventory that we are trying to get sold for you all. So welcome all the new residents. Thanks for joining us at Friendship Village. We appreciate all our new friends, and have a great month, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ken Greshak, Director of Fund Development and Life Enrichment, and I'm going to be turning the mic over to Ashley, who will be giving some updates and information on technology support.
Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Great. I just wanted to remind you that with our staff, that we do have support for you when it comes to CareMerge, community engagement, utilizing the apps, the website on either your laptop or your computer. And then we also offer support when it comes to using your Echo device in your apartment. If you have an iPhone or an Android or a tablet, we can offer help for you in using the apps supported through CareMerge on there. But we do have a wonderful person named Abby Ritchie who is available through Zoom, phone, or email if you need additional tech support. And we also offer classes every other Saturday with Rob Gray, who will come into the Kiva. You can bring your device with you, and he will help walk through the device with you. And he is also available on the off time to set up personal appointments as well. And then also I wanted to remind you, bi-weekly, we offer training on using CareMerge and also on using your Echo device. So you can look for those trainings either on Channel 1, in person with me when I host the class, or on Zoom when I host the class as well. So if you are looking for additional support, those are where your resources where they're available for you. If you were to look at CareMerge currently, you'll see that broken out for you by who does what. So if you need iPhone support, you have Sherry Bales, who has now opened up her clinic to also do Android. And that's every Monday starting at 11 and by appointment. Then you have again Rob Gray, who's available for you for any type of technology. And that is on every other Saturday or by personal appointment. Then you have our office, that's every other Tuesday with CareMerge Community Engagement Training or by appointment. Any questions? Perfect. All right. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Catherine, if you thought you were going to get away with it. We have our latest addition, Catherine Hensey. She's a new resident as well. And so she also brought a roommate with her, if anybody hasn't seen him. His name is Dodge, and it is short for Adagio, because Catherine is also quite a wonderful musician as well. So welcome aboard, Catherine.
Good afternoon. For those of you who might not know me, I'm Ryan Sweeney. I'm the Director of Culinary Services. I don't have a lot today, just a couple reminders. I've sent a few notices out about the green boxes. These here, we need these back if you have them. These boxes, these small ones, you can recycle those. We're down to about maybe 30 of these left. And I really don't want to have to buy the styrofoam takeout containers. So if you have these, please put them in your hallway. We'll come pick them up. Just a reminder that our next Culinary Conversations meeting will be this Wednesday at 1 p.m. And
Can you talk about what that is?
yeah, so if you weren't there for this last one, it's a group discussion on the status of our departments. We talk a little bit about the food. It's a very open question and answer, open dialogue meeting right here in the Kiva. So our last meeting I thought was pretty successful. We got to meet a lot of, or hear a lot of the residents' concerns. We talked a lot about the status of our departments, where we're at. We talked about commodities right now, what's going on in the world as far as prices right now, frankly, and things like that. So, and some of the struggles that we're all facing. So, I thought it was very informative. I think a lot of the residents that joined us got a lot of really good information out of it. So, you're all welcome to join us on Wednesday at 1 o'clock for that meeting as well. The last thing that I really have, please make sure when you have reservations that you're coming down at your designated time. With the transmission rate being really high right now, we're trying to be extra safe where we can. So the less people in the hallways mingling is better for all of us. So that's really all I have. Any questions?
Did you get the dishwasher fixed?
The dishwasher is fixed.
Are we replaced?
It's fixed.
Why don't we get a
Can you tell,
again?
can you tell them what it was, because it wasn't a big to-do?
So the most recent issue with it was actually a spoon that fell down the drain. Believe it or not, so it was actually our fault.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
what are the three most important things you need in the way of equipment? Whether it be the steam table or a microwave or a grill or whatever, like 1, 2, 3, and estimated cost. We don't need it to the dollar or the penny.
Yeah, so microwave is a bad word in the kitchen. We don't like to microwave things, but probably our steam table, the stacked convection ovens, and probably, frankly, the flat top in the cafe is in really rough shape if you haven't had a chance to see that. Estimated cost on those, you're probably looking at, if I had to guess, $80,000
For the total,
for those three pieces, yep.
a real deal.
Yeah.
How about dishwashers?
Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Question. The meeting at 1 p.m., where's the location?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Ryan, if we're picking up meals in the dining room, do we need to make a reservation?
No, you do not.
Okay.
Just come down.
And along with Dick Fluke's question, some of us on the PAC committee think it would be a good use of greatest need funds to get those pieces of equipment for the kitchen. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Gail, did you have something?
Yeah, how about your dishwasher, is that not on your list?
The dishwasher, it's on the list, but it's towards the bottom of the list, to be honest with you. A lot of the issues that we do have when things break, and Brandon can speak to this, I mean, everyone's going through the same staffing struggles right now. Everyone's short on parts, and it's just a challenge to get things up and running the same day they break. So that there's some validity there with why it takes so long to get things fixed. But yes, we do have some equipment that, I've worked with Betsy on. We're gonna start, we're getting quotes on things to see what it's gonna cost to replace them when they break next. So it's being, I guess, looked at.
Are we supposed to make reservations for every dinner?
Yes.
Even though you're by yourself?
Yes. You can do that by calling the number, and if you don't have that number, I can get it to you, but also on CareMerge, you can book them yourself online right there too.
Well, you can book it forever, like if I want to eat at 5 o'clock all the time.
You can, for up to 2 weeks in advance. And then, I guess maybe a sneak peek, or maybe I shouldn't say anything, but there's gonna be eventually we're gonna have a new reservation platform that I hope is easier to work with than what CareMerge is. And then on the 1st of October, we are going to have a computer system actually, instead of having to scan in every time you come in. So I should hopefully maybe not the first couple of weeks, but hopefully it should speed up the process quite a bit.
I just want to say thank you for the unadulterated salmon. Not coated in that soy sauce or anything else. I love it, thank you.
It's our pleasure, Gail, and part of that too is the quality of the salmon we were not able to get for the longest time, so we had to kind of make it better than what it was, I guess. Yes, Ken?
Ryan, on behalf of the Green Group, which is a part of the Resident Council's Committee on Sustainability, we wanted to thank you for phasing out the use of styrofoam for all of your primary uses. We're very appreciative of your sensitivity to that issue.
Well, thank you, yeah, and again, if you have these, please send them back to me so I do not have to buy styrofoam again. Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Hi, my name's Teresa Snook. I'm the Director of Administrative Services and Community Outreach. One of those, the piece that I'm going to talk about today, first I want to remind you to put in your nominations for our Extraordinary Impressions GEM Award winners. So those are our employees that go the extra mile. That's the GEM, GEM. And we have had very few nominations in the last several months. And so we're going to try to get that out to you a little bit more. We're going to put forms on CareMerge so that you can print them yourselves if you aren't in an area to pick one up, or you can always feel free to email me if that's easier for you, just to email me a nomination. You don't have to use that form, but we would really appreciate you all thinking about employees that you see going that extra mile that you would like to nominate, and we can put them in the mix. They win, and we take all of those nominations, they're pared down to the top 6, and then the director team chooses 2 each month. We really would like to have somebody in what we call the heart of the house, so maybe not somebody that's up front and everybody sees all the time, and then also another one for the front of the house. So those are folks that your dining servers and things like that. So if you happen to have some interaction with somebody that is behind the scenes, really get those out to us as well. Those folks aren't nominated nearly as often. So that's that. This last month, you will see in your villager here pretty soon that our winners were Byron Davis, who's one of our drivers, and our second person, Tad Diebold, who is one of our maintenance folks. And so you'll see their pictures and their write-ups here in the next couple of weeks in the villager, but those are our most recent winners. And now for your volunteer of the year, I'm going to have Moira come up and tell you about your Golden V winner this year.
My name is Moira Ebling, and I'm a resident, lived here for 5 years. I've been...
Can you bring the mic closer, please?
Speak right into it. I'm Moira Ebling. I've been here for 5 years, and I'm presently chairman of the V Award Committee. Now, for the newer residents, you may not know exactly what the V Award is, but every year we have the opportunity to vote for a person within the garden homes or the big house that we feel has been a very helpful volunteer to residents in the village. So there is a list provided by Teresa of people who are eligible, because you have to live here for at least 2 years before you're on the eligibility list. And I work with Teresa with the committee, and she provides me with the list. I have two other members on the committee. They are Marty King and Maxine Tage. And the three of us got together when the votes were taken this year and counted the votes. And I get the joy and the honor of announcing our V Award winner. So the Friendship Village V Award winner for 2021 is our own Nancy Ford Charles.
I thought you said it was Harry before, and I found that was a great idea. Oh, I see. Okay.
Let's get one more good picture. Hold this up in front of the two of you.
Actually,
One.
this is the lady right here. I wanted to nominate her, but she was chairman of the committee, and I couldn't nominate her. But I see Moira doing things around all the time. You know, things for lots of people, above and beyond. And anyway. Oh, well. Am I supposed to say, make a speech, or I'm not supposed to make a speech?
Perfect, thank you.
I have my glasses on. I wanted to wear my glasses.
Right?
Well, thank you so much.
So Nancy, you have a couple of special guests here today. Would you like to introduce them for us?
Oh. I think those are my friends Kay and Roberta's back there. I've known Kay since I was 5 years old. We met the first day of kindergarten at the Parkwood School. So, thank you for coming. I saw them last night at dinner and they didn't say, did you know you were coming last night? I've been told I'm not supposed to make a speech, but I feel like I just have to say thank you so much. And I think everything that I've done here is something, I wish I could say it was out of trying to be of service, but it's just because there were wonderful opportunities here to do the kinds of things that I like to do. And so I did them, and that's all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Reagan Roderick, the Director of Resident Services. So apparently we saved the really fun things for the end. As Betsy had mentioned earlier, the flu clinic is going to be here. Hometown Pharmacy is going to come on October 12th to administer flu vaccines to everyone. We are finalizing the schedules and getting all of the information out, so look in your mailbox later this week for all of that. And then the other thing I wanted to follow up on was if you have been exposed to someone who's tested positive for COVID, we want to make sure that we're taking precautions here to protect you and to protect all of your neighbors. So we ask that if you discover that you have been exposed to someone, that you notify the home health office. At that time, we can do a rapid COVID test for you. We'll also follow that up with what they call a PCR test. It's done through the lab. That does take a couple days to get those results back, but we would rather err on the side of caution and have that double test to be sure that you haven't been affected either. During that time, we ask that you remain in isolation, is what we call it, in your apartment, just to avoid any further spread if there were to be a positive case. That would limit to, or exclude, I guess, activities, swimming, eating meals in the dining room until we have negative results back. Any questions on that? Gail?
I noticed recently that someone in the independent living dining area tested positive, and that everybody was notified that that person worked with. Would that mean that the people that she served, that he served, is that a correct assumption?
We can't hear you.
I think the question is if there was a positive resident or a positive employee, Gail.
No. It was a positive employee and was in the dining. It was in the dining room area, in the family news, or whatever, one of the things that comes out. There was a dining room server in independent living that was positive for COVID. And it said that everybody that they had been in contact with was notified. And when I think about the dining room, and they have certain tables that they're assigned to, so I would assume those are the people that they get notified. Is that correct?
Yes, if the employee was within the 6 feet for an extended period of time, the resident would be notified that they had been exposed.
Okay, the other part of this is sometimes these wonderful servers come over to say hello to someone else, and especially when we have favorites. And how would you know that they were in contact with more people than just the dining room people they served?
So a true exposure is being within 6 feet of someone for a total of 15 minutes in a 24-hour period.
Gotcha.
So if a positive employee were to come by and say hello to you, that would not be considered an exposure.
Right, wouldn't be 15 minutes.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, what about if someone that's had COVID and has their natural immunity to visit you? I haven't had it, but.
The question is somebody who has had COVID and has built up immunity to come visit you as a resident. As long as your visitor is not currently positive for COVID, previous positivity wouldn't really apply. As long as they're not symptomatic and they're not positive right now, they still could come and visit.
And they're wearing a mask.
And they're wearing a mask.
And 6 foot social
And 6 foot social distancing. Any other questions about that?
I just want to say thank you for the fabulous job you've been doing. The fact that the independent living is 100% free of COVID, the residents, that's a minor miracle. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're very, very excited to see that everyone's vaccinated and we've remained COVID-free. So we're going to keep that going, right? The last thing did you have a question? I'm sorry.
I do have a question, but it may not be appropriate for you.
Okay.
I got a primary care physician this morning, and he, or maybe my daughter actually, persuaded him to suggest that I should have physical therapy. And I said, but I thought that came with Friendship Village, or no?
If your doctor were to recommend physical therapy, your doctor would need to write an order for
Right.
that, and that can be turned in either to the home health office or even to the front desk. And that order will go to our physical therapy department, and they'll contact you to get that schedule set up.
And then therefore, obviously with that referral, then I can have that done here. I don't have to go out.
Correct.
after that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if there's no other questions, I do have one introduction to make. Many of you probably knew Alex, who worked in the resident services office with me, and she has not been here for some time. Mallory, who has been a caregiver in AIL for the last few months, has stepped into that role. So her position is to support the resident services office, support the home health office, the caregivers, and also to help support all of you. So I want to introduce Mallory as the new resident services assistant, and I will have her come up here so we can put a name with a face.
Hi, I'm Mallory. I just wanted to say I'm really excited to have this new position, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. And if there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much.
All right, so as Reagan said, we do want to end on a positive note, and that positive note is we have been 100% COVID-free and independent living, so we're really proud of that, and that's what we hope to continue to strive for, and that's why we're constantly getting after you and saying, please wear your mask, please social distance, because we want to continue on that trend. So we really appreciate your patience and your help with that, and caring for yourselves and your neighbors. So thanks again for coming today, and please feel free to stop by for some punch and cookies to welcome our new residents, as well as congratulate Nancy. I think she's still here, unless she went out into the hallway maybe.
To get a picture.
Oh, okay. And to congratulate her on her Golden Bee Award. So have a great afternoon, and thanks for coming.